In a related issue, it's no secret because either the mayor's people are talking about it behind the scenes, or we're getting letters of that you don't have a college degree. I don't think anybody's going to sit here and say you're a dumb guy. You know, I don't think anybody can say that, including the mayor's supporters. But it raises the question: why didn't you ever finish your degree? And what do you see as a college education, its value, and how do you tell the students, as chairman of the school committee, that it has a value when you yourself didn't complete one?
Well, I think there's, young people have to make decisions in their life. I think, certainly going to encourage my 3 children to go to college. I come out of high school, and had been working part-time in the landscape business, and I went in and opened up my own business, and I had a landscape construction business for a number of years. I was attending some school in the evenings at that time. In fact, that's when I first met Jim Sheets. He was one of my professors at the time in local government. You make decisions in your life as you go forward the best you can. I ended up getting appointed by Mayor McCauley in 1988, and my profession took a different path. And I'm proud of that work record. We've had one of the greatest mayors that people still fondly remember was Mel Delachiesa, who was a plumber by trade. We just say to kids that are pursuing a different path, that they don't bring anything to the table, they can't run for public office. I don't think so. We each have to make decisions in our life, and if I were doing it again, perhaps I'd try to get it finished, but I don't think it's been a great disadvantage for me not to have it. Would I encourage young people to pursue the degree? Absolutely would. But there's a number of colleges that offer courses, a lead program at ENC, and they offer you credits based on your experience. And I humbly suggest, with my municipal experience, that I would suggest I probably have a master's in public administration based on my 20 years of experience.
So why don't you go do it?
No, I'm trying to educate my kids. Maybe I will later.
But like you said, through LEAD or through CPCS,
Sure.
Over at UMass, you can take the CLEP and get the life equivalency. What would stop you from doing that?
Perhaps it is something I will do down the road. I've been obviously involved in raising a family and involved in my community. Beyond my day job, those other commitments I've made to make my city better involved a lot of extra hours, a lot of nighttime and weekend giving, whether it's Coke Club, whether it's Flag Day, whether it's City Club, whether it's founding the Arts Fest. I've been involved in a lot of other areas where I think I've made a difference in people's lives. So.
Well, I have a question for you, and this doesn't happen often. Why does somebody need a college degree, whether it's from life experience or anything else?
They don't.
Okay.
Absolutely not. I've got many friends that don't. It's
Well,
an
they
issue.
decide to go on to an apprentice program with one of the unions to become an electrician, whatever field they choose. As long as we give them the best resources and tools to get them to that point to make that decision, I think that's what's imperative.
And she's wrong. We argue about things all the time. We never
Oh,
agree.
constantly. We don't agree on anything.
I heard you argue with a lot of people, right?
Me? Jack? Never.
I'm a bridge builder.
Okay, I am going to ask a question about sort of, you're at somewhat of an advantage and a disadvantage in that you really, although you can speak to your own public service experience, you don't have the record of being the chief executive of the city to point to in terms of successes. However, it also gives you the opportunity to say, I don't think this is working and this is why. So I will ask you, in terms of the two criteria you seem to mention often, one is leadership and the other is management. what do you think is working well in the city? And what do you think you, as mayor, could change for the better?
Well, if I thought things were working real well, I wouldn't be a candidate this year.
So what things, though, are working well?
I
Or
think,
do you think the whole city's falling apart?
No, I'm certainly not going to make that claim. I think we've seen a dramatic increase in taxes, a big jump in the budget, and I view the diminishing of services. And that concerns me as a taxpayer. You know, being on the inside, working under 3 mayors as a manager, I think we're, at least during my tenure, we're the most inefficient as we've been operationally, paperwork, getting the product out for the resident. I think we could make some major improvements in all of that area. And that's why it bothers me as being on the inside, trying to run a department within budget and trying to fight for those resources. I mean, when you're head of the Parks, Forest, and Cemetery, you're at the low end of the totem pole fighting for those resources, you know, between schools and public safety, public works and roads. That's why it's so important that we manage well. It's so important we don't have missed opportunities like the school projects. And I think that the troublesome areas, whether it's the strike with the teachers, whether it's the school issue not being handled early on, it's the inability to work with people to get the job done. I mean, I saw another example of that with the mayor shooting out and blaming the city council for the GIC issue. A 9-member city council being blamed because he didn't have his act together, trying to shift the blame. Leadership is about bringing people together. It's about bringing public entities together, particularly other political leaders, to get the problem solved that we're facing in the city. I mean, there's a lot of problems municipalities are facing. We need everybody working together on those to solve them. And my style over the years has been one of bringing people together, whether it's my nonprofit experience or whether it's my experience as executive secretary or as a department manager. I've always been involved in bigger issues than what they had necessarily assigned to me. And I think the difference in leadership will make a difference in how we get to those other issues. One is getting the issue resolved, but 2 is the day-to-day management, which I think is in disarray right now. I think we've had, I mean, there's a lot of lawsuits on the record that could speak to that.
The city has undergone a huge change over the years as far as its makeup since you were a kid. To the point now you're talking, you know, probably 20% of the population is Asian. They're buying houses, they're opening stores and other businesses, but there's still pockets of resistance to it. You know, the latest case being the flagpole that was cut down at the Asian Center in Wollaston. There's also, we get a lot of letters, people talking about the bilingual ballots are a waste of money and people want to be able to vote, they should vote. But there's this undercurrent of resistance to the change. What under Mayor Koch would happen, if anything, to change welcoming these people, make them a part of the city? Do you think they're a part of the city?
I don't necessarily agree with some of your premise, Jack. I live in the same street I grew up on, Newbury Avenue, North Quincy. About a third of my street is probably Asian now.
I used to live at 25, by the way.
Okay, I'm at the other end.
The nice
the high
end.
Number end. That's the only difference. The fact is, some of my finest neighbors are of Chinese origin, and my neighbors across the street. I've been there 22 years. They're just wonderful people. I don't look at whether they're Chinese or whether they're white or whether they're black. I mean, when you're in your neighborhood, I chose to live in a neighborhood that is very diverse. It always was. I mean, when I was a kid, we had a lot of Filipinos and a lot of Greek immigrants in my neighborhood. I never thought anything much of it. The fact that they've chosen Quincy to make it their home and raise their family, and I might add, in the amount of years that's been going on, there's been little issues or problems that I've seen with the adjustment for people. I think we have a good city. I think they're interested in the same thing that everybody else is: good schools, safe streets. I think that's why they chose Quincy, probably. I don't view that the flag falls in that same category.